Our daily Bible reading for May 16th. Our reading today comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 7. We're reading verses 1 through 24. After this, Jesus went about in Galilee. He would not go about in Judea because the Jews were seeking to kill him. Now the Jews' feast of booths was at hand. So his brother said to him, "Leave here and go to Judea, that your disciples also may see the works you are doing. For no one works in secret if he seeks to be known openly. If you do these things, show yourselves to the world." For not even his brothers believed in him. Jesus said to them, "My time is not yet come, but your time is always here. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify about it that its works are evil. You go up to the feast, for I am not going up to this feast, for my time has not yet fully come." After saying this, he remained in Galilee. But after his brothers had gone up to the feast, then he also went up, not publicly, but in private. The Jews were looking for him at the feast and saying, "Where is he?" And there was much muttering about him among the people. While some said, "He is a good man," others said, "No, he is leading the people astray." Yet for fear of the Jews, no one spoke openly of him. About the middle of the feast, Jesus went up into the temple and began teaching. The Jews therefore marveled, saying, "How is it that this man has learning when he has never studied?" So Jesus answered them, "My teaching is not mine, but his who sent me. If anyone's will is to do God's will, he will know whether the teaching is from God or whether I am speaking on my own authority. The one who speaks on his own authority seeks his own glory, but the one who seeks the glory of him who sent him is true, and in him there is no falsehood. Has not Moses given you the law? Yet none of you keeps the law. Why do you seek to kill me?" The crowd answered, "You have a demon. Who is seeking to kill you?" Jesus answered them, "I did one work, and you all marvel at it. Moses gave you circumcision, not that it is from Moses, but from the fathers. And you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. If on the Sabbath a man receives circumcision so that the law of Moses may not be broken, are you angry with me because on the Sabbath I made a man's whole body well? Do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment." Now some thoughts for today. There have been many stunning examples of those who rose to prominence without the aid of a formal education. Walt Disney dropped out of high school. Mary Kay Ash, from Mary Kay Cosmetics, only completed high school. Henry Ford left home at 16 to become a machine apprentice. Milton Hershey, from Hershey Chocolates, had only a fourth grade education. Frank Lloyd Wright, famed architect, never attended high school. TV cooking sensation Rachel Ray has become wildly successful despite the fact she has never attended a culinary school. Abraham Lincoln had only 18 months of elementary education, yet taught himself and became a lawyer on his way to becoming the 16th President of the United States. We often may find undue criticism of people, not because they have done wrong, but because they have not paid the dues in education. Those with degrees find it hard to accept that people can learn without the benefit of a degree. Jesus finds his critics who marvel and scoff at the same time, having never been educated. However, Jesus does not excuse his knowledge by admitting he studied hard as a child or was a naturally smart boy. He gives credit where credit is due. Jesus therefore answered them and said, "My teaching is not mine, but his who sent me," in verse 16. This is not the first time people have marveled at Jesus' knowledge. The scholars of the day were amazed at a 12-year-old Jesus' learning. In Luke chapter 2 and verses 46 through 47 we find, "And it came about that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers." When Jesus began teaching publicly, the crowd sensed immediately that this was no ordinary teacher. And they were amazed at his teaching, for he was teaching them as one having authority and not as the scribes, as we find in Mark chapter 1 and verse 22. It is indeed hard to overcome entrenched thinking of those who are set in their ways. Those who believe that there is human reasoning required for all things. We find in Matthew chapter 13 and verses 56 through 57, and his sisters, are they not all with us? Where did this man get all these things? And they took offense at him. But Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor except in his own hometown and in his own household. Even more amazing is the fact that those who should have known the teachings of God could not recognize them. A question of the day. Have you ever witnessed a person who was looked down upon for his lack of educational credentials? And a thought to meditate on this day. There is no substitute for the Word of God in our lives. We have God's will preserved for us within those pages. Read it and be wise. Those are our thoughts for today, May 16th.